Every one of us was born with purpose, but purpose without pursuit remains only a possibility. Today, you will be challenged to move beyond comfort, confront fear, and activate the untapped power within you. This is not just motivation, it's a mandate to grow. Everywhere you go, people are waiting for someone to tell them what to do, waiting for the right opportunity, the right season, the perfect moment. But what if I told you the moment you've been waiting for is already here? You see, the most powerful shift in your life won't come from someone else's decision. It will come the day you decide to take responsibility for your own growth. Responsibility is not a burden, it's a privilege. It is the evidence that you believe in your own potential. You will never rise higher than your willingness to be accountable. You can't delegate growth. You can't outsource purpose. You can't wait for someone to push you. The push you need is already inside of you. When you take responsibility, you stop making excuses. You stop blaming your environment, your past, your upbringing, your lack of resources, because none of that has the power to hold you back unless you give it permission. Responsibility is the starting point of transformation. It's where you look in the mirror and say, no one else is coming. If I don't move, nothing moves. That's where maturity begins. Not age, not titles, not status, but ownership. Ownership of your mindset, your decisions, your habits, and your results. Many people are busy being busy, but not productive. Why? Because action without responsibility leads to motion without progress. Don't confuse activity with advancement. You can move in circles for years if you're not honest about where you are and why. Responsibility wakes you up. It sobers you. It confronts the excuse, and then it demands movement. You don't need another motivational video, another podcast, another book to tell you to begin. You need to decide. The power of a decision made with conviction is enough to ignite change that lasts a lifetime. Now listen, responsibility doesn't mean perfection, it means ownership. You may stumble, you may fail, but as long as you own it, you can grow from it. You can't fix what you won't face, and you can't rise above what you keep blaming. The difference between who you are and who you could be is responsibility. It's not in your genetics, it's not in your background, it's in your choices. But here's the question I want you to think about. If you already have the power to take control of your life, then what's stopping you? Maybe the answer lies in the next key. Something deep inside you that's been buried, waiting to be activated. Are you ready to unlock the seed of potential within? Before you were ever taught what you couldn't do, there was something planted inside of you, a seed of purpose, of greatness, of potential. And here's the truth, that seed is still there, but a seed that's never activated, never watered, never exposed to pressure, stays buried, hidden, forgotten. Too many people die full of potential because they never made the decision to use it. They wait for permission when they were born with a mission. The most powerful thing about potential is this: it's invisible to the world until you make it visible. People can't see what's inside you until you show it. That's why it's dangerous to wait for validation. If you don't recognize the value within you, the world never. You were not designed to be ordinary. You were not born to blend in. There is something unique about you that no one else can replicate, but you have to activate it. And activation requires discomfort, pressure, effort. That's why some people say, because it's easier to live safely than to live fully. But if you can sense that there's more in you than there is, and the presence of that sense is proof that potential is calling. It's pulling, it's saying, don't ignore me, don't settle here, there's another level. Potential is never realized by accident. It's a choice, a deliberate intentional decision to stretch beyond what you know, to confront your fears, to do what others won't, not to impress anyone, but to fulfill the assignment that's already inside you. There's a danger in hiding your gift, not because the world won't notice, but because you will feel it. You'll feel the tension between who you are and who you could be. That tension never goes away until you do something about it. And listen, no one is born great, but everyone is born with greatness. The difference is who chooses to activate it. That seed inside you doesn't respond to your intentions, it responds to your action. That's what turns potential into power. Now let me ask you something. What have you been sitting on? What idea, what talent, what skill, what solution to a problem that others are waiting for? If you never plant the seed, you never see the fruit. If you don't take the risk, you'll never see the result. The power is not in having potential, the power is in using it. But maybe the reason your potential feels stuck is because you're still waiting for the right time, still overthinking, still hesitating. What if I told you, the next breakthrough won't come from dreaming bigger, but from doing something now? Because the next step is not about potential, it's about action. You were built for more, not just to survive, not just to get by, not just to exist, but to excel. Deep down you know it. That quiet voice inside, that gentle pull on your heart. It's not a fantasy, it's a reminder of what's possible. But let's be honest, what stops most people from walking into that more? One word: excuses. Excuses are the chains we put on ourselves. When fear whispers, "You're not ready," excuses make comfort feel like safety when it's actually a trap. Here's the truth: your destiny doesn't care about your excuses. Your potential doesn't shrink because life got hard. You were not designed to fold under pressure. You were built for it. And everything you've been through, everything you've faced, every setback and disappointment, was not meant to stop you. It was meant to shape you. But you have to stop telling yourself why it won't work, and start focusing on why it must. You have to stop rehearsing your limitations, and start declaring your intentions. Excuses sound good when you're afraid, but they collapse the moment you take responsibility. You're not too old, you're not too young, you're not too late, you're not too broken. The only thing in your way is the story you keep telling yourself. And let me tell you this: progress doesn't require perfection, it requires movement. You don't need the full map to take the first step. You don't need the applause to validate your journey. All you need is the courage to silence the noise and start where you are with what you have. You were built with resilience. You were built with grit. You were built with strength that adversity couldn't erase. The pain didn't destroy you, it revealed you. It showed you what you're made of. Now is not the time to shrink. Now is not the time to hide. Now is the time to confront the excuses that have held you hostage and declare no more. No more waiting. No more blaming. No more settling for average. When excellence is within reach. Greatness doesn't respond to intentions, it responds to action. But you can't move forward if you're still tied to the lies that say you're not enough. Break free, because you were not built to sit in fear. You were built to rise in faith, in yourself. The life you want is on the other side of the excuses you keep justifying. But let me ask you, what's the one thing you've been avoiding? The one action that could change everything but you keep putting off? What if the next level of your growth is not about knowing more, but about doing more? Because the truth is, the gap between where you are and where you want to be is called action. Year after year, they talk about what they want to do, what they plan to do, what they wish they had done, and yet they're stuck. Why? Because intention without action is just a dream on pause. We've confused planning with progress. We've mistaken talking for doing. But listen carefully, you don't move your life forward by thinking about it. You move it forward by doing something about it. The missing link between intention and transformation is execution. It's not enough to want growth. You have to work for it. It's not enough to have a powerful vision. You need powerful movement to match it. Too often, we wait for motivation. We wait to feel ready. But feelings don't build the future. Decisions do. And action doesn't follow feelings. Feelings follow action. You'll never feel like doing everything necessary for growth. Growth is uncomfortable. It's inconvenient. But if you only move when it's easy, you'll never reach what's extraordinary. There are people with less talent, less skill, less education, doing more than you. Not because they're better, but because they're not waiting. They're moving, they're doing, they're applying what others just admire. The moment you stop living in theory and start living in execution, your life will change. The smallest step is greater than the greatest intention. One action taken today beats 1,000 intentions saved for tomorrow. You don't have to get it all right. You just have to start. The power is not in the size of the step, but in the consistency of the movement. Every time you act, you break resistance. Every time you move, you silence the doubt. Don't wait for clarity to come before you act. Act, and clarity will come. Progress produces perspective. You don't need the whole picture to begin. You just need the courage to take the next step, and the discipline to keep going when it's not easy. Most people never reach their goals, not because they didn't have a plan, but because they never executed the plan. They let fear slow them. They let perfection delay them. They got ready to get ready and never moved. You have to decide, today, that execution matters more than opinion, more than approval, more than the fear of failure, because failure is just feedback, but inaction is a prison. So what are you going to do now? Keep talking about the dream, or start building it? And maybe, just maybe, the reason you haven't acted is because you've been waiting for something to feel right when what you really need is discipline. Because discipline is what builds destiny. Others are waiting for things to get easier, but let me tell you something. Ease is not what unlocks your growth. Pressure does. Pressure isn't a punishment. It's a signal. It's the evidence that you're getting close to something bigger than where you are. Because if there's no pressure in your life, you might not be moving toward purpose. You might just be sitting in comfort. You see, diamonds are not formed in silence, comfort, or convenience. They're formed in heat, in force, in tension. And just like that, your potential responds to the same thing, pressure. Not the pressure to perform for others, but the pressure to become who you were born to be. Pressure reveals what's real. It exposes your weaknesses, yes, but it also uncovers your strength. You won't know how resilient you are until you've been tested. You won't know how disciplined you are until you've been stretched. Pressure introduces you to a version of yourself you would have never met in comfort. So stop running from pressure. Stop thinking something's wrong because it's hard. Hard doesn't mean impossible. Hard means growth is happening. You're being developed, refined, strengthened. Because comfort never produces character. It never deepens your mindset. It never forces you to confront your limit. But pressure does what comfort never will. It prepares you for the next level. Most people avoid pressure, not realizing that pressure is the process. The challenge you're facing right now, it's not in your way. It is that tension you feel between where you are and where you're going. That's not a sign to quit. It's confirmation that you're in the stretch zone. And the stretch zone is where elevation happens. Pressure doesn't show up to break you. It shows up to build you. It doesn't mean something's wrong. It might mean something's right. That you're finally walking in the direction that requires a stronger, sharper, more focused version of you. But here's what separates those who grow from those who give up. Mindset. How do you see pressure? As a problem to avoid, or as a path to become? Because what you call pressure might be purpose trying to break through. Let me ask you, what have you been avoiding? Just because it felt uncomfortable. What opportunity have you been running from? Because it came wrapped in responsibility. What if the very thing you've been dodging is the key to unlocking the version of you that's been buried under doubt? Maybe it's not time to escape the pressure. Maybe it's time to embrace it. Because if pressure is part of the process, then the next question is, what's keeping you locked in comfort? Every time you make an excuse, you give your power away. You trade responsibility for comfort. You trade growth for delay. And here's the most dangerous part. Excuses justify your inaction. They make you feel right while keeping you stuck. You say it's not the right time. You say I don't have the money. You say I'm too tired, too busy, too inexperienced. But here's the truth. None of those are reasons. They're just excuses. Because when something matters enough, you find a way. And when it doesn't, you find an excuse. Excuses are sophisticated lies we tell ourselves, and we believe them because they sound logical. But logic can be a trap if it's driven by fear. You can be so smart that you outthink your own destiny, so calculated that you talk yourself out of taking the first step. And the scary part, excuses don't always sound negative. Sometimes they wear the mask of wisdom. I just want to wait until I'm fully prepared. But you and I both know that's not wisdom. That's fear dressed up in a suit. You don't need a perfect plan. You need to stop hiding behind your reasons and start moving forward, even if it's messy. Because every excuse adds another brick to the wall between you and your breakthrough. Excuses build nothing. They produce nothing. They grow nothing. They only preserve what you already have. And if what you have isn't enough, then why are you protecting it? You want change? Then you have to stop defending your limitations. Stop rehearsing your setbacks. Stop giving energy to the things that hold you down. Let me say it plain. No one becomes great by accident. And no one becomes great by excuse. You will either find a reason to grow, or you will find an excuse to stay the same. You've got the talent. You've got the idea. You've got the potential. But do you have the courage to let go of the excuses and take full ownership of your life? This isn't about being fearless. It's about refusing to let fear make your decisions. And every time you say, not now, you're saying no to the life that could have been yours. So what will it be? Another excuse, or a new direction? Because excuses sound good until results start talking. And results don't care about your reasons. They only respond to action. But maybe there's a deeper reason you've been holding back. Maybe, just maybe, it's because you've become addicted to what feels safe. Could it be that your comfort zone has become your prison? Comfort, it feels good, doesn't it? Familiar, predictable, safe. But here's the problem. Comfort zones don't grow people. They contain people. You weren't created to live inside a cage, even if that cage feels cozy. And sometimes the cage isn't made of steel. It's made of routine, of habits, of patterns you keep repeating, not because they serve you, but because they're easy. You wake up, you go through the motions, you check the boxes, but deep down, you know something's missing. You feel the tension between where you are and who you could be. That's not frustration, that's a signal, a sign that comfort has become too small for your calling. Comfort zones are tricky. They don't scream, they whisper. They tell you you're doing fine. They tell you don't risk it. They convince you that what you have is all there is, when the truth is, what you could become is still waiting to be explored. You want transformation? Then comfort has to die, because comfort is the enemy of growth. And the longer you stay in it, the more it robs you, not just of progress, but of passion, of potential, of purpose. Nothing great ever came from the comfort zone. Not one invention, not one movement, not one breakthrough. Because every next level requires you to leave something behind. And most of the time, it's comfort. Growth demands exposure. You can't build confidence in what's easy. You build it in what stretches you, what challenges you, what makes your knees shake and your heart race. You don't find purpose inside what's familiar. You find it when you step into the unknown, when you do what you've never done, when you go where it's uncomfortable and yet necessary. Don't let comfort seduce you into staying average. Don't let the fear of unfamiliar keep you from the future you were born for. You're not stuck because you lack ability. You're stuck because you've made peace with limitation. And let me say this, your next breakthrough won't happen in the chair you're sitting in. It'll happen when you move, when you leap, when you stop asking, what if I fail, and start asking, what if I fly? The version of you that's waiting on the other side of comfort. That version is stronger, wiser, bolder, and it's calling you. So the question is, are you going to stay in the place that feels good, or step into the place that does good for your future? Because the moment you break out of comfort, you break into clarity. But maybe there's one more thing standing in your way, something louder than fear, deeper than doubt, something that's been driving your choices without you realizing it. Could it be your environment is shaping your identity more than your vision? Your environment, it's not just where you live, it's what surrounds your mind. It's who you listen to. It's the atmosphere you absorb, the voices you allow to speak into your life, the energy you sit in every day. And whether you realize it or not, your environment is shaping you. You can have the right vision, the right ideas, the right intentions, but if you're planted in the wrong soil, you won't grow. Why? Because your environment determines what thrives in you and what dies in you. If you're constantly surrounded by doubt, by negativity, by people who've settled for average, guess what? That mindset will eventually rub off on you. You'll start thinking small, playing safe, You'll start questioning the very dreams you once believed in. You are not just a product of your potential, you are a product of your exposure. What you hear, what you watch, what you tolerate, it's all feeding or starving your future. And here's the hard truth. Sometimes elevation requires separation. Sometimes you've got to distance yourself from what's keeping you grounded in who you used to be, just to become who you're called to be. That doesn't mean you're better than anybody. It just means your calling is louder than your comfort. And sometimes that calling can't be heard above the noise of your current circle. Who are you giving your ear to? Are they speaking life into your purpose, or draining the fire from your vision? Are they challenging you to grow, or comforting you to stay the same? The right environment doesn't just encourage your progress. It demands it. It stretches you. It challenges your excuses. It reminds you of who you are, even when you forget. But most of us, we stay too long in toxic soil, hoping something good will still grow. Let me tell you, no matter how great the seed, if the soil is poisoned, the seed won't rise. You've got to protect your space, guard your circle, audit your influence, because sometimes the most powerful shift in your life doesn't come from changing your goal, it comes from changing your environment. And once you start surrounding yourself with growth, everything changes. You think differently, you speak differently, you move with purpose, and you stop apologizing for wanting more. Your atmosphere matters, your influences matter, and if you want to rise, you need to be in a place where rising is normal. So ask yourself, is your environment feeding your destiny, or fighting it? Because you can't become who you're meant to be, while staying planted in places that don't believe in who you're becoming. But here's the next step. Once you've adjusted your environment, what happens when resistance still shows up on the inside? Could it be that the next battle isn't external, but happening inside your own mind? The most dangerous battles you'll ever face won't be on the outside, they'll be in your own mind. You can escape people, you can leave places, you can outgrow environments, but you can't run from your thoughts. Wherever you go, there you are. And if your mindset isn't transformed, your results never will be. You see, your mindset sets the ceiling on your progress. It doesn't matter how big your dream is. If your mind is still locked into fear, doubt, and limitation, you'll never rise above your own belief system. You can't build a life of excellence on a foundation of insecurity. You can't reach high places with low thinking, because every action flows from a thought, and every delay, every excuse, every hesitation, it all starts in your mind. What are you thinking when no one's watching? What beliefs are running on autopilot in the background? Because until you confront the narrative inside your head, you'll keep repeating cycles outside your life. Your mindset is a filter. It determines how you see failure, how you respond to resistance, whether you take risks or retreat, and most importantly, whether you believe the truth about your potential, or settle for the lies you've picked up over time. Some of you are not stuck in life, you're just stuck in thought. The prison isn't around you, it's in you, built from years of criticism, past failures, broken confidence, or fear of rejection. But here's the truth, you don't have to stay there. You can rewire your thinking, you can reshape your self-talk, you can choose to believe something new. But first, you've got to identify the old story that's been playing on repeat. What have you been telling yourself? I'm not good enough. I don't have what it takes. People like me don't succeed. Who told you that? And why did you agree? It's time to challenge the voice of limitation, to cancel the script of fear, to stop rehearsing defeat, and start speaking destiny. Because when your mindset shifts, your life follows. When you think differently, you move differently. You speak with boldness. You act with clarity. You step into rooms you once felt unworthy to enter, and realize you belonged there all along. Your mind is not your enemy, but it needs leadership. It needs discipline. It needs direction. Don't let your thoughts lead your life. Lead your thoughts. Every day you have a choice. Will you be led by fear or by vision? Will you believe what you've always heard, or believe what's actually possible? Because the moment you take full command of your thinking, you take full command of your future. But even after your mind is aligned, there's one last piece you must master, or everything else will collapse. Could it be that the final step is tied to how you manage your time? It's one of the most precious commodities we have. Yet it's the one thing we often squander without realizing its value. Every minute, every second, is an opportunity to move forward, or to stay stuck. And the truth is, how you manage your time will determine how far you go in life. You can have the best ideas, you can have the greatest vision, but without time management, all those plans will remain nothing more than dreams. Time is the one resource you can never get back. Once it's gone, it's gone. And yet many people treat time like it's an endless supply, like there's always a tomorrow to make things happen. But there isn't. Every day is a gift. Every moment counts. And if you're not intentional about how you spend that time, life will move on without you. You'll look back one day and realize that the years have passed, and so has your chance to become the person you were meant to be. So the question becomes, how are you spending your time? Are you investing it, or wasting it? Are you doing things that bring you closer to your dreams? Or are you filling your hours with distractions and excuses? Because time waits for no one. The most successful people in the world didn't get there by waiting for the perfect time, or letting life happen to them. They understood that the key to achievement is in how they used their time. They prioritized their goals, their growth, and their purpose, and they protect their time like it's the most valuable asset they have. Because it is. You see, time is not just about quantity, it's about quality. What you do with your time makes all the difference. Are you spending your hours on things that matter, or are you allowing the trivial to consume you? Every minute you spend on distractions is a minute you'll never get back. And if you're not careful, those minutes will add up to a life you didn't even choose. But time management isn't just about avoiding distraction. It's about making decisions, setting boundaries, and understanding that not every opportunity is meant for you. The world will always offer you things to do, places to go, people to meet. But you must learn to say no to the things that don't align with your purpose. Every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. And if you're not careful, you'll find yourself saying yes to the wrong things. And in the process, you'll say no to your dreams. Now it's time to take a hard look at how you're spending your hours. If you were to audit your day, what would it reveal? Are you truly prioritizing the actions that will lead you to success? Or are you merely reacting to life's demands? Because the way you spend your time today determines the life you live tomorrow. So let me ask you, are you using your time, or are you letting it use you? Because in the end, time will either be your greatest asset, or your greatest regret. And the next question is, how will you make this moment count? How will you use this time to take your next step, and start the journey you were meant to take?